If you try and neglect the ego and only be soul, you can't even communicate with all the people in the world. All the people in the world, majority of the people in the world are operating off of ego, so they're only going to understand ego most of the times. When I was going down that spiritual rabbit hole of just learning so much spiritual esoteric knowledge, I think that's what it's called. But when I was learning all of that, I started to neglect the ego a lot, because I mean, obviously I still know that the ego craves things that you just shouldn't have in your life, but I also think, or I feel like I know now, that it's very important to also have an ego, I think, to be realistic and survive in the world today, you know? And I think that it can be hard. I feel like, because I was trying to have my own way with spirituality and actually, you know, teaching and shit, but I didn't like the way that I had to teach it. And I feel like it's very hard to succeed in being like a person who is trying to be all spiritual and shit and promote not having an ego and trying to be successful in it. Because if you try and neglect the ego and only be soul, you can't even communicate with all the people in the world. All the people in the world, majority of the people in the world are operating off of ego, so they're only going to understand ego most of the times. Like, shit that I say, I have to say a lot through my ego now. Or, yeah, I have to say a lot through my ego now, and I know that's what a lot of spiritual people have to do. Because if you don't say things to your ego, no one else will really understand it. There's a couple people I know that we can talk to each other and understand every single spiritual thing, and it's probably just with knowledge, but I feel like also it's because we're tapped into the soul also. Because once you really start to learn more about spirituality, you learn that there are two different parts. Just like there's yin and yang, masculine and feminine, all the different shit. What is it called? Like the law, I don't know if it's the law of polarity or what, but you learn that there's ego and then there's the soul. The soul is on top of the ego, or the higher self, the God, whatever you like to call it. You have the ego on the bottom, the soul on the top. The ego sees through a very narrow field, while the soul sees through a very wide field. So when you begin to look through the soul, you can actually see things, and you can see a lot more things very objectively too. You can see things way more smarter, and you just begin to understand a lot more things that people don't understand in a way that people won't understand it. So yeah, and I think that I had to realize that to become successful in like society, to get rich, I'll say to get rich and have a lot of influence, you have to exercise your ego to the max. Now, me, I want to still be a very divine being, so I'm going to try. I try my best to communicate through my ego with my soul, and still in a way that other egos will understand it. I'm not gonna lie, I do see at times my ego taking over though, and I know that's a bad thing, but I understand that all just comes with the journey, and I understand that I'm just gonna have to learn a lot and shit. You know, that was a random thought.